Talking with the experts.
Hello, my name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com and welcome to Talking with the Experts. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And if you feel a bit generous today, you might head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and remember to press the bell so that you know when my next videos are uploaded. My guest today is Leticia Francis from the UK, and her business is Black Rose Coaching, and we're going to be discussing overcoming fear. And Leticia is a business mindset coach who is passionate about helping women overcome fear so that they can build their dream business, learning to embrace a success mindset along the way. In her one-to-one coaching, she helps her clients find the clarity and confidence needed to step into entrepreneurship. Welcome, Leticia, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So I guess the first question is why are women so afraid to get into business?
A lot of us are afraid to get into business because of the narratives that we are holding. A lot of the women that I work with tell me, I wasn't born to be a business owner. I don't have what it takes. I'm not enough. And that fuels the fear that they have about getting started. A lot of us fear failure. So we do not put ourselves out there. We do not challenge ourselves a lot of times because of that fear. So I think it's very important to have these conversations to help people move beyond that so that they can step into their power, so that they can have the fulfillment and the freedom that they desire that comes with business ownership.
Yeah, I think females are brought up to be fearful. They have to be a certain way, they have to look a certain way, they have to dress a certain way. And, God help anyone who steps outside of the normal, which is, what's to say what's normal, honestly. Anyway, yeah, so I can relate to that because, imposter syndrome and comparisonitis are two of our worst enemies as a female entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I found that, especially imposter syndrome, that's probably the most challenging one to get over.
Absolutely. And I focus on that quite heavily with my one-to-one coaching. I think it's about identifying how the narrative that you are holding is actually keeping you back. Because a lot of times, let's talk about the narrative about, I don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. I wasn't born with business sense, right? That fuels a fear of failure because you believe that someone else has this magical DNA that makes them an entrepreneur. And that is not it, right? So that brings in the imposter syndrome. I'm not enough. I'm not an expert. I won't be able to deliver the impact that I'm looking to make. So I'm not going to get started. And a lot of times, I think because we are so committed to those narratives, we don't actually know how that shows up for us. So it's easy to say, I'm scared of failure, but we don't really know the implications of that fear. And I think that is very important. Self-awareness is so important so that you are able to change your perspective and move forward. So, a lot of us are operating from fear and not even realizing it, but we are experiencing procrastination. We are set in perfectionist world, everything needs to be perfect. And all of this stems from a fear of failure. For some people, there's a fear of success. So I think it's important when I start working with clients, giving them the awareness of how the fear is actually holding them back. And it's not just, I'm not going to get started in my business. It ripples through all aspects of our lives when we are operating from fear.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of female issues are coming from a place of fear, only because it's been ground into us since we were, able to breathe almost. That, we're supposed to be fearful of all of these things. And when we tend to step out of our comfort zones, it is really, really uncomfortable because, it's the fear of the unknown. And failure to me, it took me a long time to realize that there is no such word in the dictionary as failure. Failure is only a lesson. And you've made a mistake and you've hopefully learned a lesson, but you haven't failed because hopefully you've learned something from that particular mistake that you've made. So, but that took me a long time to learn that, a long time.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I love to say embrace failure. Failure is part and parcel to success. And like you said, it is a learning. The only time we fail is when we are not taking action. Every other thing that we do when we're taking action gives us an opportunity to learn. It gives us an opportunity to grow. It gives us an opportunity to edify ourselves. So again, it's about challenging the narratives that we hold and understand that, there is a bigger impact just by taking action. So much can come from that. And it's important when we are framing things, when we are thinking about things and we start framing that in our mind about, the meaning that we hold towards things. I'd like to say we have to do it in a way that is pleasurable for us. Because when we take action, we take action from two frames of minds. We're either moving towards pleasure or moving away from pain. And if we are framing things in a way that will induce fear for us, like if I get started, I'm going to fail. If I fail, it's going to be the worst case scenario. I know for myself, when I thought about starting a business, my worst case scenario was being homeless on the side of the road with my children, shaking a tin can, looking for spirit change, right? And that is not a narrative that I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but that was such a far stretch. We tend to default to the worst case scenarios, which does not serve us. And I think it's so important to encourage women that, any expectation we have about the future is just that, an expectation. We do not know what's going to happen, but we have so much power that we can hold an expectation that will be pleasurable for us instead of create a pain. So my pain was being homeless with children on the street, right? But when I framed it and I really realized that by starting my business and showing up, I was serving someone, I was helping someone else move forward. That inspired me to take action. So it's all about addressing the narratives, creating a narrative that really truly serves us so that we are wanting to move forward, and then embracing failure as we go along. I like to say we are more powerful knowing 100 ways something doesn't work than only knowing one way that it does, right? And it's about really just working on your mindset so that you are not falling into that trap of being stuck because of this negative future expectation.
Yeah. I often think it would be advisable for women to go to seek coaching before they even think about opening a business, because their personality may not be suitable to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be pretty thick-skinned, from my experience. And so if haven't got that thick skin already, then I think you're in for a lot of pain. And, what are your thoughts on going and getting some, a business coach and getting some advice before you actually implement the idea of your business?
I think it's amazing. Coaching is a mirror. It allows you to see the things that you previously did not see so that you can change your perspective and move forward. And for me, for instance, when I started my business, I got certified in coaching and then wanted to move forward. But I had to work on my mind. And like my tagline is like, let's get your mind right so that you can move forward. We all have heard that saying that business is 20% strategy and 80% mindset. So I encourage anyone to reach out for that help, because a lot of times, we are successful in our careers and we think that translates to being successful as a business owner, and it doesn't. There are so many mindset shifts that need to happen. We need to learn how to move from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset. We need to learn how to move from lack mentality to abundance mentality. We need to learn how to embrace failure. And all of these things, a lot of us don't realize coming into business. So having that support, having someone to, first of all, hold you accountable, and then cheer you on along the way while you work on the mindset stuff is so, so important. And that's one of the reasons why I created my one-to-one coaching. My one-to-one coaching mirrors the mindset shifts that I had to make as an entrepreneur. And, a lot of business coaches don't focus just on the mindset. What it took for me was hiring a mindset coach. I hired a business coach and I had all the strategy in the world, but I was struggling to move forward. And it wasn't until, like I said, I got my mind right that I was able to do so. So I think it's very important. And I think it's something, we talk about mindset, but unless you're in tune with that, you don't really know what that means, right? So it's important to have these conversations and educate people about the issues that can actually hold them back. So in a nutshell, I think it's a great idea to get a coach to work through everything.
Yeah, there are a lot of pitfalls into starting up your own business, going from a 9-to-5 corporate job, or, it might not even be a corporate job, just a 9-to-5 job in the so-called real world. And then all of a sudden, you've started your business and, you're not prepared. You think you are, you've got all your ducks lined up and, all your strategies in place and everything. But sometimes it only just takes one little hiccup and, you're just a heap of shit on the floor, basically, because you hadn't planned for it. And it's unfortunate, but, it happens to males and females. It just, you think your business idea is going to be wonderful, you're going to make $1 million in the first year, really, calm your farm, people, because it doesn't happen that way.
Absolutely. And that's another thing, we come in and we are surrounded by these narratives of overnight success. And yes, you might have had overnight success. I had overnight success when I switched my niche, but that came behind a year of trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? So, people, they paint these amazing pictures online about be a business owner, find your freedom, find fulfillment. But what does that actually look like?
Ooh, yeah. No, it doesn't happen. Very few people reach 6 figures in a very short space of time. But
yeah. It's a lot of work, and I mentioned, I started off in life coaching and I struggled initially. Like I said, I hired a mindset coach, I hired a business coach. I actually hired 3 business coaches in my fresh year because I thought that it was the strategy that was missing. This strategy doesn't work for me. This one doesn't work either. It's something wrong with this strategy, right? And it wasn't until I sat back and, no, it's something wrong with me because I have the strategy, but for some reason I'm taking my foot off the gas. I'm not, moving forward. And I had to address it with myself, which is so important. But once I made the shift, because I learned the strategy and I learned the mindset, once I announced my niche change, I was able to sell out my program in 24 hours. Now I can say, I had overnight success. I sold out my program. But the truth was, I had to work on things first. And it was really, my breakthrough came when I learned to embrace failure. I learned to take action despite of the fear that I had, so that I can see the success that I desire.
Yeah, it certainly takes a big shift in your thinking. As we talked about earlier, going from an employee to working for yourself, and you're the only person who's accountable for what you do. You can't blame anyone else if it goes pear-shaped in the meantime. So yeah, I think it takes a special kind of person to become an entrepreneur and be successful at it. I think they've got the mindset obviously is very important. And I think you do have to have the right attitude as well.
Mm-hmm.
Attitude has a lot to do with,
and be stubborn. I say that all the time. Be so stubborn that you're not willing to give up on your dreams. Like, that is not even an option, right?
Yeah, I agree. No, I do agree with that. So, Leticia, have you written any books? Have you got any books in the pipeline? Tell me about your course.
Okay, so I do have a book in the pipeline. I am a domestic abuse survivor. And the bigger picture for my business is to be able to provide transitional housing for victims so that they are able to become completely self-sustained. I want to build an army of entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, if I'm honest. And I want to be able to take people who are at the absolute darkest moments and help them transform their lives. But in the meantime, I am really, really passionate about helping women leave their 9-to-5. I spent 14 years in commercial insurance as a catastrophe modeler. And my last role was in Lloyd's of London as a manager. And my struggles as a Black woman in a white male-dominated industry were big, and they impacted my self-esteem at one point in time. And so right now, my program is designed around helping women step into entrepreneurship and leave their soul-sucking careers behind. And we do that by getting clarity around the business that they're building, getting very clear and intimate with their ideal clients so that they understand the most pressing problem of their ideal clients, what solution they're willing to pay for, so that they can create a service or product that solves that problem, so that they can sell their products or services like hotcakes. And all while doing that, we are working on all the mindset blocks that come up: procrastination, excuses, money, a bad relationship with money. What we talk about hesitation to change and limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, so that they are embracing a success mindset. And I believe that a success mindset addresses all of the hurdles that come up with entrepreneurship. So my program, I say, is a perfect marriage between strategy and mindset, so that my clients are prepared for what's to come. It's about building a really solid foundation, so no matter how the business evolves, they are set up for success.
Yeah, it gives them a really good foothold, doesn't it? And I'm an advocate in the domestic violence space as well. We hold free pamper days on an annual basis for survivors. Mm-hmm. And it's such a rewarding thing. And just to see them when they come in, they're all, shy or quiet and sullen, and when they leave, they're all happy because someone's actually spent some time with them and made them look beautiful, because we have makeup people and whatever there. So yeah, it's such a great day. But yeah, so I can see that by you helping them change their mindset, and because so much happens with a DV survivor, that these new life lessons need to be learned probably all over again, because they, self-esteem, and that's been eroded along the way. So yeah, kudos to you. And congratulations. I think it's a great goal that you've set for yourself, and yeah, I'm sure you look too, but you seem stubborn enough.
I am stubborn. I am so stubborn. I am so stubborn, and I'm so committed to this. Being in a position to give back is so important to me. And, a narrative that I've heard all my life is I'm too much. I'm too loud. I'm too opinionated. I'm too smart for my own good. I've got too much attitude. And now I'm using this loudness, this opinion, this attitude to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And it's so important to me.
Yeah. Maybe it's not that they can't, maybe they just don't want to because they're too afraid. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Podcast, have you ventured into the world of podcasting yet?
It is on my list of things to do. So I challenged myself before jumping head in. I need to do a little bit of research. So I've committed to doing 50 podcasts between now and I set the date of the end of September. So far, I have 39 booked in. And I'm really enjoying this process. So I'm learning, what works, what doesn't work, what creates a good guest experience before I jump in. I like to be prepared as much as I can.
Yeah, I've had a few guests that weren't very good guests, but you smile and keep going. Anyway, that's the beast, nature of the beast. Welcome to podcasting.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, so I'm enjoying all of it.
Oh, I'm so
and I'm enjoying sharing my story.
Yeah, and it's important that we, as humans, share our stories that will help and benefit others. That was the reason I started mine, was to get other business leaders to share their experiences with other business owners, so they could better themselves or get fresh ideas or something, especially in this trying time with the world the way it is. So and it's been
and that's such a great thing, because I think a lot of times we come into this and I know I heard the narrative, entrepreneurship is a very, very lonely journey. And I feel like I've been most supported during this stage of my life, because there is so much out there offering support if you actually look for it, right? So
Absolutely.
Kudos to you for sharing other people's stories. There is so much therapeutic value in sharing our stories and helping each other.
Absolutely, yeah. And if we've got to stick together, really.
Yeah.
That's otherwise the world's just not going to be any good. Anyway, I won't get into that. Get all political on me. No, don't do that.
We can do that on another one.
That's it.
I got so many opinions.
Yes. Best to keep them to yourself. Okay, Leticia, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Where can people find you?
I spend a lot of time on Instagram. Black Rose Coaching is my handle. Black is spelled BLAQUE. It's actually my nickname. And yeah, if you connect with me on Instagram, reach out, say hello, start a conversation with me. Super friendly, love to chat.
Perfect. And any last words of wisdom for our listeners and viewers today?
I would like to encourage your listeners and viewers to walk as if every step is about to make an avalanche, because you are here to change the world.
Love it. That's terrific. Love
Thank
it.
you.
All right, Leticia, thank you so much for your time. And I've got a little envelope where I keep my favourite little guest's name. So I'll put you in my envelope.
Okay, thank you for having me. It's been great meeting you and chatting with your audience.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Talking with the experts.